All right, let's do this. We are designing more of a user interface, and the goal of today is to work on this data dashboard that I'm designing. If you all want to join in the fun, you can feel free to comment, and I'll throw a StreamYard link in. Um, I am a sort of fringe member of the fun little online group called This Little Corner of the Internet. If you're familiar with them, they often start up live conversations, and it's usually very low key with the intent of allowing people to come through and break the fourth wall of the internet. Stop being a passive observer. Be an active participant. Here's an opportunity for you to participate. If you join this call, if you jump on to the live with me, you can talk with me about whatever you want, or you can co-design interfaces with me. Um, whatever you want. Not whatever you want. That's not totally true. You can talk with me. We can have a conversation as I design. I've got to keep designing, but I can kind of design and talk at the same time. Or you can. I think it'd be fun to create together. You know. So there's different things we can do to kind of provoke creativity, the spirit of play, the spirit of fellowship, the spirit of creativity to get it going inside of us. But this is just my offering to you. Please, please join in. Let's be virtually not alone. I always say virtually not alone together, but that I think it's implied when you say virtually not alone. Let's be virtually not alone together. This is like I'm a remote worker, and it just sucks being remote all the time. I'm gonna be honest, it just sucks. I'm like a freelancer, mostly independent. I've got a couple, people I do agency work with, but they're mostly remote. So this is the part of my life where I try and connect with other people through this weird thing called the internet. So sad eyes. Those aren't sad enough. Sad eyes. I don't have good sad eyes. I'm just realizing. That's pretty good. Uh, feel free to join in the fun. Ignore if you can hear the children in the other room. Just ignore them. It's what I do. No, I've got a. My wife is right now responsible for watching and helping the little ones. Yikes. Okay, let me share my screen. I'm just gonna hope you all are not able to hear them screaming. They're not screaming. They're just talking loudly. I don't know why, but my screen sort of lags when I'm sharing it live, which I don't love. It's probably because I'm like not using a good live setup, but you can kind of see me herky jerkying. I don't. I don't know. Maybe I'll fix that in the future, but for now, this is low effort, low barrier to entry. Okay, so here's the things that we're working on. We're working on sleep, nutrition, activity, a data dashboard that can show all of that. We're pulling in data from various sources, like your Aura Ring. Where is the Aura? Honestly, I just really like this approach here. This is pretty stellar. Um, Copy this in. I like this a lot. I like this too. So I'm going to copy this into so I can look at it right into my app. I'm really just, there's been a conversation lately about vibe coding on Twitters. People who just like start coding and just like how they feel and they go for it. That happens in design a lot too. You just vibe design. It's nice when you can kind of get into that state of flow. It happens for me sometimes. Sometimes I'm just really struggling. But right now, I feel it's a good opportunity to kind of get into flow. I'm a verbal processor, so I'm going to like flow and verbalize as I go. So deal with it. I'm just messing. I don't think there's much to really deal with. So I like this body clock idea. It's like you can tell when you slept, right? Because you got this little sleep logo, sleep icon. What else do I like about it? I like that I don't really know what's going on here with the inner ring. I can't tell that just by looking at this. But I was guessing that this outer ring is like when you actually slept. In this case, like midnight to 9 a.m. But then, oh, and I think maybe the inner ring is your actual chronotype. So it's aligned, is what they're saying. Look, you're aligned with your chronotype. That's your midpoint. This is what your midpoint was for your sleep. So that's interesting. I feel like that kind of data could come in. I also like this like here, the sleep cycles. I feel like if I'm just thinking of it from the simplest perspective, okay, how can I, as a person, I want to know, did I sleep good? Did I sleep good last night? And have I slept good the past month? Have I slept good the past year? Those are some questions I might ask. What I would probably want is just a really simple, like, let me just try something super simple. We're starting with the conceptual layer here, and then we're going to dial up the aesthetics. The aesthetic kind of view, the client's interested in this sort of look here. It's like super spicy kind of, he used an AI thing to come up with this, but it looks nice, We'll see if we can recreate some of that feel. But first, we're starting with the aesthetic. So, or the concept, excuse me. So, what is our concept? Did you have good sleep last night? Yes or no? I've been watching Rigel. Rigel, I don't know if you're out there, but he's in the little corner. He's just started out doing his thing too. He's inspired me. He's inspired me to start doing my little own thing. But Rigel is, he spoke about how vulnerable it is to do this sort of thing. And I was like, is it not that vulnerable? But that was me just being a passive observer. Now that I'm doing it, I'm like, this is insanely vulnerable. People see, like, you look at this awful, you're like, look at how beautiful this is. And what are you doing? Like, but, and then like how slow it is coming together. It's like, for me, that's the worst part. It's like, I should be 10 times faster at this by now. I don't even want to tell you how long I've been doing this for because I don't want you guys to judge me. I think if I look at back on my night's sleep, I think, did I sleep good? Things that tell me if I slept good, slept well. I know the grammar. Things that tell me if I slept well are, like, first of all, how I'm feeling is a pretty big indicator. But second of all, it's like, did I get, this is where there's a disconnect for me, right? There's sort of a recommendation, there's a recommended sleep, but that recommended number comes to us from, doing studies on lots of people over a large enough sample size over time. That's like, yeah, you probably need somewhere between 6 to 10 hours of sleep. Ideally, I think I like how Aura is looking at it here, the Aura Ring app, because they're saying it's not just the time, the amount of hours you sleep, but also when you get the sleep. And also, I think the quality of your sleep depends on if you get the different types of sleep. To me, this just seems like a pretty good night's sleep. So, anyways, how do I know that I slept pretty well? I think it would be something like, you could see, um, how do you do? I think there's a way to do. Okay. How do I know if I slept pretty well? It would be like I slept 8 hours. I slept the time that I usually like to sleep, which is from my chronotype. It's like really around like 10 to 6, more than likely. And I only got up maybe, for me, I get up pretty much once every night, which I didn't used to, but welcome to getting older, I guess. But if you get up, once in the night, okay. So 8 hours, and here we'll cut out this one and this one, and we're basically saying this. We could say we're just gonna make it a different color just so it's very obvious. Okay, so let's say we slept 8 hours. This one was REM. This was deep sleep. And then this was light sleep. Yeah, I think that's roughly what you're looking for. I guess potentially if there was like you probably want to see how much you were up in the night as well. So if we duplicate this, call it and then we're gonna raise it. Oh, where'd it go? Okay. Bring it to the top. There we go. And we'll make this even smaller. I think you can do this like this, right? No, it's gonna be tricky. This is why this is not fun to do in Figma. It's not a very good chart making tool. Unless I'm just doing something totally wacko. But that's close enough. We just gotta live with close enough for now. Okay, so then you've got light, and then you've got awake. Okay. And these should probably all be smaller. Okay. Actually, what we could do is just make a little legend. REM, light, deep. REM, awake, REM, light, deep. Cool. So I'm assuming you'd look at something like this and you'd say, yeah, I think he's pretty good sleep. You could even say how many hours each one was or something. I like this too. It like creates a score, 91 optimal. I wonder how it translates this into an optimal. A score out of 100. Like it's like, how do you know it was 91 instead of 90? I don't know. assuming over time you'd get a better sense for that, but that's gonna bug me. Just to say, don't worry about it. Okay. So in this case, but let's see if we can make these colors like way cool, like gradient style. Maybe we say this is the score. In this case, you got a 91. Let's make figure 91. And then let's go gradients. So I like to use this little tint and shade generator thing. Just like grab me some colors. Make tints and shades. So I can easily gradient it up. Gradient it up. Here we go. All right. We'll go darker here. It's got to be like enough different that it actually looks different. We'll go lighter here. Obviously, the deepest sleep is the darkest. Awake should probably just be like straight up white, right? You're awake. You're not even sleeping. It's empty. The deepest sleep is that. We could say this is. Let's make this the light, and then this this. It's not light enough. It's too hard. What I don't like is when it's hard to tell them apart. It's like I can't really tell apart this one from that one. So let's lighten it up even more. Even more. I might have to just work on like. There we go. Okay, so we're awake. We got REM. We got light. We got deep. Probably we should switch. Probably this should be. We'll say this is 2F6 9. No, just copy it. That's easier. And then this is this. So it goes around lightest to darkest, awake to the deep sleep. That's not centered. Okay, a 91. And then this is where I'm like, should we even do a donut chart? Because donut charts are just. Donut charts aren't even that great, you know? Because this would be easier to understand in a line, I think. Because in a line you could compare, like you could see what's what. But anyways, let's say it's a donut chart. Can we combine these two things somehow? We got a 91. And you slept. I think it'd be cool to have. Okay, so we like do this, add a little circle thing here. Okay. Here we go. Make this white. Awake. Light. Why is that doing that? This should just be like 4. And then deep. Light. Deep. Beautiful. Center this guy. Let's add some more. Why is that so wide? This should all be hugging. Hug. 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 Is this hugging? Why is that not hugging? Hug. Okay, and then let's add some space. There we go. Now we're coming along. Shoop, boop, boo. Wish this was more interesting for you all. I mean, if you're not interested in this, I mean, I can talk about other things. I don't know if I can while I'm working. I'd be curious to see if I could just do this and talk about other things. I do have a very strong capacity for verbal diarrhea. That's a Rigelism. He's like the one person. He's my only subscriber, so this goes out to you, Rigel. So I can just talk nonstop on this. Just might not be very useful speech. Okay. This looks okay. I mean, that's bothered me, but it won't be like that in production. In code, it's a lot easier to make that sort of thing happen. But this is the problem. I showed the client some nifty charts, and they were like, cool, but make them really nifty. And it's like, this is not useful because you can't tell where this one ends and this one begins. And this is also not useful because this color looks like the same color as that color, and this one is kind of the same color as that. So it's 4 different segments, but they the gradients make it unuseful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it's you could do a gradient here and it would look kind of cool, but it wouldn't be terribly useful from a meaning perspective. But here it's okay, I get the meaning. So I'm more into the meaning, honestly. People who use this, they're going to want it to be meaningful. It can still look good. I mean, I think this looks okay in terms of colors. It's a good color coordination. Okay, so we got REM, light, deep. I like these colors for sleep related stuff. I think it's even more okay, a 91 is my sleep score. Great. And then you want hours slept. You want total hours slept, time you slept. And this is cool, but I think it's overkill. You basically just want time you slept. What kind of sleep? Which is something I was doing down here. That's too much of a gradient. Okay, so now we're going to just turn this into... I'm going to get all of this off of here. We're going to turn this into a basically something like this. But I'd love it if I could make it even more. Let me grab the pencil tool and just see what I can make happen here. So essentially what we're saying is he's awake a little bit, he goes down, deep sleep comes up. Let's shrink these down to size. Oh, I said I would stop tapping. Okay, I'm going to see if I can transpose this into some kind of like. So I got a sleep score of 91. I think even more important than 91 here, I think it's just the hours. So 8 hours. 9 hours, we'll say. Sure, why not? 9 hours, 31 minutes. Beautiful. That's the total time. And then you could like tap on each one of these and it would show you like. It would tell you how much time each one was if you tapped on it. Let's do that real quick. Let's see, you tap on deep sleep. I wonder if we should have the total time right here. So like awake, 32 minutes, that kind of thing. Excuse me. So it'd be like 32 minutes. But it'd be like gray. What's the gray I've been using? It actually works. Let's check our tints and shades. Huh. I like 777 is usually pretty good. Huh. That's not what I want. If I made this regular, medium, I just do M, 32 minutes, left align it. There we go. REM, 2 hours, 12 minutes. We'll say light, we'll say 4 hours, 3 minutes. And then over here, we'll say deep. No, this isn't, the math doesn't math, but that's okay. Just for like clear, like if we did, what did that look like? Yeah. Put a little space. There you go. So now you can just see the time that you slept. You don't even have to click on them. You can just see it. There it is. Immediately visible, high density information. Yeah, that's already not right. The math, you can tell. There you go. So your total, you can see your various types of sleep, how much you got. And then I think you're going to want to know, okay, from what time to what time did I do what? So you're going to want to see something like this. The sleep timeline. So what does that entail? It entails the hours. Sleep timeline. It's probably going to need to be bigger than this. Here's my sleep timeline. Let's have it go all the way to the edge here. And then we need a line across the bottom. Okay. And then all right. And then yeah, I think excuse me. I like that they marked the edges specifically. I'm gonna put this is 10:37, 36 p.m. Why is that? That's annoying. What the? Stop it, you. Okay, so that's 10:36 p.m. This is 4:30. 6:30. No, we said 9 hours. This would be like 7:04 a.m. The math is still not quite mathing. It would be 7:07 a.m. Okay. I love how we're just saying, like, you might wake up in the morning, you'd be like, how do you feel? That's how you tell how good you slept. But we're saying, yeah, it's like, okay, 7:07 a.m. It's like, how do you feel? That's how you know you slept well. But this we're saying, it doesn't matter how you felt. This is how you know you slept well. It's like we're using a metric. We're using the science to tell you that's how you know you slept well, instead of like how you feel. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about sleep vigils, because I used to be like really hardcore into like, if I don't get enough sleep, I'm not going to live a healthy life. My whole day is kind of wrecked. That whole feeling. And then like I had kids, and when you have kids, you just don't get enough sleep, and you just sort of have to say like, doesn't matter if I don't get enough sleep. I'm still gonna live my life, and I'm gonna do the best I can. And like your biology is subservient to your ontology. Could be a fun way of saying that. And by that I mean you're ontologically a spiritual being. You're a spiritual being. You're an embodied spiritual being, but you are a spiritual being. And so your spirit has the power to dynamically overcome the the biological limitations that maybe if you look at this data and you're like, oh, I slept poorly, I guess that means I'm gonna have a bad day. It's not necessarily true. Excuse me, I guess is what I'm saying. Because a sleep vigil is basically like saying it's almost like a sleep fast, I guess. A vigil is where you stay up through the night and you're staying up and you're praying and you're holding space for someone or something. Or usually it's I don't know. I've never done one, so I don't know. But it's the idea of like this is a good and right thing to participate in. Sometimes you intentionally give up sleep for a higher purpose. Whereas before it would have been like the highest purpose is sleep. Not really. I just would have been like I would have thought sleep is healthy. If you're not being healthy, then what are you doing? But there's a spiritual healthiness which surpasses the physical healthiness, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. Man doesn't live on bread alone. I read that somewhere. So okay, let's do a line here, a timeline. I think it's got to be more. I like the pencil idea. I don't know if I can actually make it. Maybe I'll do like an actual dotted line, like a pen thing here. Okay, so you start the night, you're in REM. I think it pretty much has to be like they're doing it here. I thought you could do it differently, but I wonder if I could make it more fluid. Like make it more, okay, you start the night in REM. We're just going to pretend this is REM. Okay, and then it's dipping down into the light. This is where you could maybe have some gradient action. And then you're going back and you got deep. And then you're doing this. And then I think you could like make this point. Nope. How do I? Okay, that's annoying. I just think this doesn't look like a cycle once you make it hard lines. I think you need to do like I like this sort of thing. If we could just make everything smaller somehow. This is what I'll do. I'll just outline the strokes. Outline stroke. Oh yeah, that didn't do it. Outline stroke. Yeah, this is so annoying. I'm done with this. Get out of here. Okay, just Command-C all that. Okay. what I'm trying to say is, like, if it's a sleep cycle, it should look cyclical. Am I crazy? Am I just crazy? What if we did lines? What if we did lines and then I did like this, but I made the lines bendy lines like this, and then why is this? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So then I did this, and then I did, and then I moved it over. What if I did all this? And I connected them. And then I did this. Okay, but it's got to actually. This isn't a good line. It's got to be a clear up and a clear down. Just had a thought about cycles, historical cycles, and cycles of life, and it's kind of a heavy thought. How, like, God sees all the cycles from. He sees our ancestors, not just my parents and my parents' parents, but he sees all of our ancestors, and he sees how far we've come from them, and he sees where we are today and the context of all of that. Okay, but I think this one I actually want to do bend it this way, right? I don't know. Yeah, I gotta do more like this. This isn't working. This is garbage. This is garbage and it's taking so much time. Okay, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say sleep. Here's the cycles. Basically, like, okay, let me just draw each individual cycle section. Okay, so awake, like, okay, but he starts sleeping at 10:36. So this would be like REM transitioning, REM transitioning, REM transitioning. It's transitioning to deep sleep, and that's transitioning back up. Okay. So then here to here. So then I think we could just make this on the top. Let's make this a gradient. If I did this instead. Oh, okay. That doesn't do anything. The top would be light. It's got to be like this. Like this. And the top is this color. No, the top is this color. And the bottom is this color. So wouldn't that kind of represent like what we're getting at here? Come in.
I can't. I'm
Then-
holding my tablet.
Okay.
Where's Mom?
I'm not sure.